And into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, home to the Asian Oprah, and on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Tiki Live, Amazon Music, Podchaser, JioSaavn, Rumble, Tiki Live, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. That's why there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K words on this show at all. No Kardashian talk, no Kanye talk, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests. If you missed the Waltons, I have Lucio Ball's daughter coming up. I have special series for fitness now, as well as straight talk yesterday. And Elan actually got to meet my Thursday host. And today I'm so delighted to have not only my fabulous co-host for Fridays on Tempting Conversations, the daughter of Otis Williams, the founder of Temptations. We also have her beautiful inside and out mom, one of my special treats that I got to meet last year as a result of my new BFF, Elan Carter. Her name is Goldie Shortridge. If you could welcome both to the studio now. Good morning. Hello, darlings.
Good morning, Dr. Marissa. How are you?
You look so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. You too, with your lovely, I love that color on you.
Well, we're doing Black History Month, right? So I figured I wanted to wear something that's so between the three of us, I think we have the colors.
We have the colors, and that wasn't on purpose, right? I put something on that was a little different that I normally wear. And
I love it. Accidentally on purpose. That's how life works. And you like my patch?
I want to say, you know what? You look lovely, and you are you're so dedicated and amazing because you don't want to disappoint your fans. Because I was like, maybe we don't do tomorrow, and you're like, no, I'm good. I'm going. She just had surgery yesterday morning, and she is here.
Yesterday afternoon, actually.
Oh
yeah, and they told me that the amnesia, I would have 24 hours of amnesia because of the amnesia. What they shoot? Anesthesia.
Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?
Goldie? No.
See, I'm learning the sarcasm. You know what? We're becoming.
Sarcasm is another service.
You know how when you become friends with someone, you start having similar habits. Now I'm learning how to be sarcastic.
Oh, from me, because that's one of the services I offer.
Right. Not as good as you, but I'm getting it. Mine might be a little bit cornier, but
I love you. She's so amazing, and I remember the first time I met Goldie. And I was complimenting her because she had this super cool glasses chain. And, next thing you know, we're shopping at the site that she got it from. And then the next thing you know, the next time I see Elan, she gives me one. And I'll tell you, people like that are you're so blessed in life when you meet soul connections. Mm-hmm. That beautiful soul connection. And I'm already jumping into breakfast. So I don't know if Elan told you, we have this thing. I started it probably 8 months ago on the show. Since it's my show and I produce it, I can do anything. So I decided that if you're going to get up and drive to work with me at 8 a.m. in the morning, then you're going to start the day in the most positive way. So breakfast with Dr. Marissa in the morning means that we take a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So, what is that? The top of the bun is 8 specific things that you're grateful for outside of yourself. And then the bottom of the bun is 8 things that you like or love about yourself. And that's the tougher one because we're taught, especially as women of color in cultures, don't stand out, don't toot your own horn, don't be too, whatever. And so almost always when I ask my co-host or my guests to start that way, it's easy to do the gratitude, but it's a little more challenging to actually speak out loud things that you like about yourself. But we've been doing this for 8 months now, and people have been taking the challenge 30 days. And all the feedback I get is they have an immensely better day because of sandwiching between gratitude and appreciation. So, because there's 3 of us this morning, usually I make Elan do 4 and I do 4. So we're going to go like the little ball that goes along the song, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we'll do that. And if anyone is streaming in, they can also put their gratitude in the chat, and that's how we do it. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. All right, Elan, why don't you start us off?
We'll go first. You start so she'll know what we're talking about.
Right. Okay. I am grateful that the windows did not smash in with all the high winds and the pelting rains, and that I live in a warm, I have a roof over my head, and I really take that for granted because there's people that are homeless that don't have that. So I'm grateful for that.
I'm grateful that I have you as my friend and my mom on this morning.
Yay. Me too. Okay, you get that, Goldie? Your turn.
I have it. I'm grateful for my family. I have a very loving family. They take care of me. They watch out for me. And I'm very grateful and very blessed to have them.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I know. When we were eating that one day, we were on our way back, and no, we got to stop and get a cupcake for Goldie. Right? Oh, that was great. It was great. I wanted to buy it. She wouldn't let me buy it, by the way.
Oh, I remember that. Susie's Cakes.
Yeah.
Was it red velvet? No, I was thinking it was a pineapple coconut something. That's her favorite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I am grateful that thanks to technology, I can broadcast from anywhere.
I am grateful that you had a safe surgery and you are here this morning, and we're blessed to be able to do this show today.
Yay. Goldie?
I am grateful that I have a new friend, you. And I am grateful that you invited me to be on your show. What a
Absolutely. Treat. Absolutely. And I think 2 more. So I am grateful that the planets didn't crash into each other last night, and we have another day to hug and laugh and create and post and innovate and do taxes. That's what I'm doing.
I'm grateful, not happy, but I'm grateful that we have water for the planet, and it rained in California because although I don't like the rain, we're spoiled. We needed it. So I'm grateful for the rain for the plants.
Yay, for sure. And a bonus one from Goldie.
She took my grateful.
Well, that's what I was going to be. Well, she takes mine. Dr. Marissa takes mine all the time. So every time she takes mine, I go, yeah, I was going to say that. I second that motion. That's what I usually say, right?
Right.
It's a little annoying, but we needed the rain. We actually needed the rain. So.
Yeah. Great. All right. That's the top of the bun. Now, we got a heart for that one, by the way. Somebody's in the studio. Oh, I think we may even have another gratitude. I think we do. And Tom Briggs looking beautiful, ladies. Good morning. That's a longtime supporter. Thank you, Tom. You look beautiful too. All right. What are 8 appreciations? So, what do you like about yourself? So, I'll start. I appreciate that I am a trooper and that it doesn't matter what is going on, what happens to me. I've had 2 hip replacements. I've had a DVT that I almost died of. I had appendicitis when I was in China on my birthday when I was 18, and had that out on local anesthesia. So I felt the whole thing. Like I felt the whole thing yesterday too with the eye.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm a trooper and I appreciate that about myself.
Wow. I appreciate, well, we have something similar, so I won't go into that because I've had some of the similar stuff you have, including the appendicitis. I appreciate that I speak my truth and I don't let people intimidate me.
Hear, hear. Yeah, Goldie and I are like, we know that.
Right? Like, she does. I'm very blatant, blunt. I'm sorry. Like I don't say it to be mean. I'm just truthful in a good way to better your people. I'm not.
Absolutely. You're a great role model for that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that I have learned over the years, and God's given me the knowledge to turn a negative into a positive.
Hear, hear. I appreciate that I have a great sense of humor and I love to laugh starting at myself.
I appreciate that I love to laugh and I'm corny, but it's okay. I'm okay with being corny.
We're okay too with it, Elan. I love making. Sorry, go ahead.
I appreciate that I can enjoy my own cooking, although my family doesn't. It's good enough for me.
I heard about this.
Uh-oh, I was afraid of that.
Cottage cheese and potato chips. Wait, sour onion, sour cream potato chips, cottage cheese, and Vienna sausages for breakfast.
There you go.
Out the can, little pink.
That's so
it's
funny.
Really good.
That is so funny because I honestly thought that, well, I'm not going to say who told me, but I heard that you're not a good cook. And usually when people have, told you. I'm not telling. So when I hear that, I think that, that came from you, when people, because Elan will say, I can't sing. I know I can't sing, right? And people will say she can't sing, right? Including your husband, right?
My husband.
So yes, your husband said that. So it's funny that I heard that you weren't, and you're saying that you are a good cook.
I'm a good cook to me.
Yes, because anyone with those taste buds has to like their cooking because her taste buds are not the same as ours.
It works for me.
She likes that we call her the mad scientist because what she does is you'll give her a recipe, she'll go on Pinterest, you'll YouTube, and then she'll put some liquid smoke in it and screw the whole recipe up. I'm like, who told you to do that?
My own
version. She'll put something and I'm like, well, this tastes kind of odd. Well, yeah, because I added liquid smoke. I'm like, that's disgusting.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Chemicals.
Well, Elan's a good cook. I had some of her sweet potato.
She's a good cook.
I'm going to jump ahead of you. I'm grateful that I can really cook. I actually made my father a cake, gave it to him the other day in this lasagna, and he called me twice ranting and raving about my butterscotch bumped candied cake. Like it's candied on the top. Like I caramelize. It's almost like a flambe. I mean, like a flambe. It's like what's a dessert I like so much?
I know you're talking about.
Creme brulee.
Creme brulee. It's almost like a creme brulee crust on the top.
It's delicious,
and it's a butterscotch cake. It's like buttery. It's not like the pudding. It's like buttery, and it's delicious. And he was like, "Oh my god."
Don't brag about stuff.
To sell these cakes.
Don't brag about stuff you haven't given me yet.
Oh, I will when you make me the rice, right?
Yeah,
because I love that. The fried Chinese fried rice and the egg roll, the spring rolls. Really, I had to call her. I had to see it on TV. I will make you my specialty, And I make a chocolate salted caramel bundt cake too, with rock salt. It's delicious.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it. Okay, yeah, we'll
Okay,
do a cooking trade. Tom's having all kinds of fun here. Let's see what he says. He's actually from Seattle. He's in Seattle now, and you can't cook hot water cornbread.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And
that was a challenge.
I can cook hot water cornbread because my great grandmother taught me, because my mom couldn't cook. And I know how to make the best amazing collard greens. I make them with dried fruit.
Wow, that's interesting.
I make it with dried fruit. It doesn't have any meat, and it's the most delicious. And the school had a African American month studies, and I'm not even on the board of that. And the lady said, "Can you please make the greens?" They called me 5 times, and London goes to a very high-end private school with no Black people. And it's like, "Can you make those greens? They were so good."
Oh, that's so funny.
I won't talk about what I'm good at anymore.
Well, I also made that fried rice that you saw for my daughters. I'm so grateful, or I appreciate how involved I got in my kids' lives, much to their chagrin at the school. And every year I would do that Chinese New Year demonstration and make the rice. And so the staff and the kids were excited. And I gave them the red packet with money in it, which was expensive because there's 30 kids in a class times 2. And then I found out after the first year that you're not supposed to put just $1 in. It's an odd number, which is unlucky. And I said, I'm sorry. I'm not putting $2. I'm not doing that. We'll just have to be unlucky.
London did the red envelope in her class because she takes the Mandarin class.
That's right. Right. That's great. So I'm just putting in Goldie. You're not listed on the. There we go. So people know who the second beautiful woman is on that.
Lady is sitting next to me.
So okay. After, let's see. Now you're talking my language. Louisiana, take me back home. Oh, that's funny. All right. So that is the end of breakfast and taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. Thank you for doing that with us. I am now. Can you tell I like the affirmation of applause, Goldie?
Yes. And I was getting caught drinking my coffee.
You can't get enough. If you can't, the reason why I do that too is if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect other people to approve of you?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So it really is such an important thing. I believe that if every child was taught or made an example of how to soothe yourself, like how to, you don't need someone else to calm you down. You don't need someone else to tell you you're fabulous. You don't need someone to tell you how great you are, because you just know fundamentally that you're a cool person and you're not perfect. What would our world be? I know we would get to world peace, but because we grow up with that, if you do this, you're a good boy, good girl. And if you stop doing that, I would be happy. That's that ingrained. So then you're always looking for love in all the wrong places.
Acceptance. Exactly. We always want acceptance. Exactly. You can't get anyone to accept you, whether you do good or bad. You can be the most fabulous person, because in the human emotions, there's not just jealousy, there's envy. And although somebody may like you, they still may be envious because they haven't achieved that. So you can't make everyone happy. So as you get to a certain age, as you're just like, look, I have to do what makes you happy, because that's when you're going to find happiness. You just kind of coming out of it in your 30s, but you still like, okay, I've achieved a lot. Let me get some kind of recognition. It doesn't even matter whether someone recognizes you.
That's absolutely true. And we're going to jump into our topic today, which is, what does Black History Month mean to you? And I wanted to do this earlier in the month, and we've just had lots of different fabulous guests and everything. But I did not want to end this fabulous month of Black History Month without having a show dedicated to talking about and highlighting and celebrating the importance of Black History Month. And before I ask you that question, I'm going to give you a little time to formulate. For those of you who hear people say, well, you know, we don't have a Guatemalan History Month, or we don't have Swedish History Month, or we don't have, and, you know, really, you know, what this is why we don't have world peace, is because we keep putting cultures against other cultures and all of that bullshitaki that I hear. I just want to put the moose on the table, which is my Canadian version of elephant in the room. Let's be real clear that the reason why we have Black History Month, the reason why we have Black Women History Month, which is next month, the reason why we have Latino History Month is because Black and Brown people have traditionally not been highlighted or celebrated. And myself knowing we don't have a Chinese History Month, but, you know, and yes, we do have Asian hate, but the historical, if we look at the gravity at which Black and Brown people have been discriminated against, and racism and prejudice, then that is why we're doing this, you know, and it doesn't help anyone to begin, you know, every time you say Black Lives Matter, or, you know, Native American heritage is important. And then I almost always hear someone say, well, Blue Lives Matter too, or,
yes.
And they go to that other extreme, which is so annoying because
Right.
they're not getting the point of all of this.
Or they don't want to comprehend.
Exactly.
I have one little comment about that. I just want to open up because I think my mom can really relate to it more than me, because she grew up in Alabama during that time, in Birmingham, when everything was really bad during MLK. But I want to say, growing up with Otis, right, having a father who's famous and growing up with a very, you know, an accomplished lifestyle, although, and he's a man of color and he's a darker man, he's also have gotten different recognition because he's been a big star since he was 17 years old. So he hasn't really had to face some of the challenges that the average person has. So our lifestyle was a lot different, right? Me being a woman and a young girl in my prime and a model, my lifestyle was different. I think also when you are attractive in any race, it supersedes a lot of racism. So you don't deal with it as much as somebody else that is not as, you know, doesn't have the same opportunities. Growing up, I actually decided to go back to school later, like around 30, and I took an African-American history class, not because I chose to take it, it's because I needed an extra credit and there was no other classes. I was like, oh, let me just try it. And it really opened my eyes that how I grew up, I was so oblivious that there was stuff I didn't even know. I had a roommate whose uncle was Huey Newton, and I didn't even know who the Black Panthers were. Mom, you didn't even teach me that. So she was like appalled that I had no idea who the Black Panthers were at 25 years old, because I didn't grow up like that. So when people say Black Lives Matter, how come we don't have this month, that month, I can actually relate to why they're saying it, because if you grow up in a social economic opportunities, you don't get it. And if you have Black friends or brown friends who are in that same social thing, they're like, well, I have friends that are like that, because you don't know what struggles, because your life has been different, right? So that opened my eyes and I've learned a lot. And in that class, you know, I had to tell the teachers when I got in other classes, so many things that make America what they are today. People don't realize the things you use on a daily basis were invented by Black people, not because we need to be only have that month. We don't get recognition at all. So that just the stoplight, just using the toilet seat, using a ironing board, using just the locomotive, peanut butter, whiskey, all that was invented. I mean, I could just go on. but no one knows that. And that's the problem. So when you have certain racial issues, or we come from slavery, we did this, all the stuff that we contributed to this country, besides building it, is not recognized. And then you think that we don't have the same rights because we didn't get any financial gain from it, because everybody else just took the potato chip and made potato chips what they are today. Peanut butter, Jack Daniels. These were all things invented by a Black person. Just having a heart transplant, that was invented by a Black person. A blood transfusion, that was invented by a Black person. So just things that just every single day, if people were aware of the history, I think that they would change their attitude. So for us trying to take it out of the school system is really difficult, because we don't want to make it and bash anybody. We just want to say, hey, this is what they contributed. Just like when we have, look, the Asian people came here and they did this and that. And we praise that. We praise the culture. We praise that, all the beauty of the costumes and the foods. We want the same recognition. That's all we want our kids to learn. So then everybody can learn, the younger generation can learn to love each other and enjoy each other.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
my opening, which was a little long. Go ahead, Goldie. Because I could just go on and on, right?
Yeah, Goldie, you were born. I didn't know that. When the reason why I asked you on, well, I've asked you on for a while, but this was the perfect show for you, because when Elan showed me the picture, it was your uncle who was actually the attorney of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yes, he was.
And that was like, whoa, I hope she's feeling okay, because I want her on, because I want you to talk about that. And any, of course, and any kind of memories you have of that. And tell us, tell me what it means.
Okay. At the time, I was living in Jersey at the time that the riots were going on in Birmingham, Alabama. But I remember some of the areas that I saw on television with the dogs and stuff, the places that I had been with my parents when I was living in Birmingham. I remember the church that I had been to where the little girls got killed in the church. I had been to that church. So all that, I lived through that.
Didn't you play with one of the little girls you said?
I didn't play with one of those little girls.
Oh,
no.
I thought you
Thank
said
God
that.
I didn't. That would have been really hard. I had another friend you're talking about that I played with. Her father was a judge, and his house, beautiful, fabulous house, his house was bombed, which really hit me hard. It was bombed. And my aunt at the time, because she was at the house where my uncle lived, was on the phone when the gun was, someone shot a gun and shot the phone out of her hand. Luckily, it didn't kill her, but it shot the phone out of her hand.
On purpose?
Oh, yeah, on purpose. It was a Ku Klux Klan.
But the family said that because my uncle was funding and giving money to MLK, and our family supposedly, we haven't heard it, but my cousin has tapes, which her father has tapes of things that were, I don't know, whatever kind of meetings that her father had with MLK. They have recordings still.
Yeah. And a lot of times when he was in town, he would stay at our family house, which is where my uncle lived. So as far as me actually experiencing some of that, I wasn't in Birmingham at the time, but I do remember the riots in Jersey. I was in Jersey at the time. And I remember holding Elan as a baby in my arms and crawling on the floor because they had the army was going up and down the street, and then they had rifles. Yeah, the marshal, and they had rifles on them and stuff. And we didn't know who was going to get shot next. So we were just crawling on the floor. So I remember those days.
And that was in New Jersey? That was in New Jersey?
At the time, yes.
Wow.
About when you were in Alabama and you got on the bus and the ladies didn't know.
Oh,
when I was Alabama.
When I was
no one cares
when
about
I was
Jersey.
really little, it was pretty bad in Jersey. When I was really little, And I started going to school, and my mother put me on the, had me to get on the bus. And I guess they couldn't figure out what I was. And I just sat down on the bus where everybody else was sitting down.
In the front of the bus.
I was in the front of the bus. Luckily, no one bothered me, but I had no idea that I wasn't supposed to be in the front of the bus. And then when I was very small, my aunt, because my father's side of the family were very, very light-skinned Black people, took me to the local store where they did a lot of business with the local store. And I didn't say, sir, after I gotten some candy or something. Thank you, sir. I just said, thank you. And he corrected me. I was supposed to say, sir. My aunt said, we don't teach her to say, sir. She said, thank you.
Well, they didn't take any mess.
My father's side, I guess, because they were so light and they got away with it. They said what was on their mind, and they didn't care.
Wow.
I told your mother at the store too.
Oh, no, this wasn't the store. We were we were traveling on the road. And a lot of times my mother and I would travel together from Birmingham to Jersey. And we went into one of the little, stops. And I don't know how the conversation came up, but he told my mother she should never say that she's a Negro. She should always say that she's Philippine, because she didn't look like a Black woman. She looked like she was Philippine. But my mother was,
she was Native American.
My mother was Native American and Black.
So I've got so many things going through my head. First off, I'm shocked that you hear stories in the South, but New Jersey's not the South. So the fact that there's stuff like that in New Jersey blows my mind. Number two, I actually had on my show in the early days, the cast of the Scottsboro Boys, which is a true story made into a play that was at the Amundsen. Hal Linden was one of the main characters. He was on my show and talked about this true story of the teenage boys who were accused of raping a white woman who lied about it. And those are the kinds of stories that are just like heartbreaking. And I think I told you, Elan, I met this man who came on my show who's 88. His grandparents were born slaves. His parents were born free, but he is a lighter skinned Black because that's the question. Well, lighter skin, how did we get that way? Because the slave owners would sleep with and rape most of the time the slaves, and the ergo lighter skin that came
that happened to my family.
Well, her grandfather on her father's side, actually I should show you a picture. We're going to crack up because my cousin just sent the picture. He's like this Scottish guy with the mustache that goes like this. His name is Massengill. He looks like a little character. But anyway, he had this 16-year-old girl that was a Black woman who worked for him. She's our great-great-grandmother. And my great-great-great-grandmother, this is her great-grandfather. She worked for him. And she wasn't a slave, but she worked for him. And I guess he started having an affair with her and fell in love with her. And so they came to get her because she wasn't supposed, there was no slavery at that time. And he hid her in the woods and then had my grandfather's mother and started having kids with her. And my cousin just sent us the picture. He looks like such a character. And he was a merchant. He owned a store. So I'm like, I wonder if we're related to the Massengill family because his name was Massengill. And he's like a little Scottish guy, The thing about Black people, I mean, both my mom and my dad's sides heavily mixed. I know probably further down the line, but I have kind of just immediate grandparents that had already mixed up, not just because of slavery. And it is, she can tell you during that time, because she's a Southern belle and she went to private school in Alabama. This is stuff they want to hear. Because there was a group of people in Alabama that were able to pass. They had a different lifestyle. She grew up very wealthy. She's not telling all that. Her family was wealthy. They grew up very wealthy. We were actually at a party with friends, and I don't know how the subject came up. There was a woman, my best friend's mom was there, and she's like, "Oh, where are you from?" My mom says Birmingham, and she says my last name is Shortridge. And then they started talking, and the woman knew my mother's family. She goes, "Oh, you guys were wealthy. You had money before Black people had money. So our family helped other people that were less fortunate, even though they could have taken the high road and be like, well, we can pass, we don't care." You know, they didn't. They did support MLK. They did, you know, reach out. Even my dad, my biological dad's his side of the family, my grandmother could pass. His grandfather, he's Native American and Irish, and he has land that my dad lives on that's like 80 acres of land still in South Carolina. And you know, when things were going bad and people didn't have food, he fed the Black people in that area. Because my great grandmother was that he married. She was Black. She was a midwife. So she delivered everyone's baby, no matter what color they are. They respected her. And he was like this Native American Irish man that didn't take no crap. But he also said, this is my family. They're Black. The KKK Grand Dragon lives right across the road. And then my whole family, they don't mess with them. They're like, we'll shoot you because they got a lot of guns. Because they're like the Beverly Hillbillies. We call them the Chocabillies, right?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
You know, it's interesting because the Black people that could pass, like my mom's side, like I always say, they would have gotten my butt, but because I'm a little bit darker. But they were able to help the people that couldn't get help. That's what the light-skinned Black people had to do. And that's what my mom's father's side, they were well off. They all had master's degrees during that time, right? Right. They went to Howard University. All my uncles, they had law degrees. And so they helped other people. And that was the blessing. Like my grandfather had a boys club, right? He had several different businesses. And so those are the things that are really important for Black History Month, that they helped the less fortunate, you know, and as any people, no matter what color, during COVID, during 9/11, that's when you saw people come together. It didn't matter what color you are, long as you help other people. It wasn't a color thing even back then, but because they were putting dogs on Black people, you know, my mom's family could go and pass and then go home and go, okay, let's give them money so they can have a place to live and escape and not have the dogs, you know, they seek the dogs, right?
Goldie, sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done.
No, she can talk. So I'm just helping her. She's a lot of stuff she's not telling.
I know. I see that. Did you ever feel conflicted, Goldie, because you weren't, you know, as identifiable, and you hear about the discrimination? I know as a Chinese woman, as a child, you know, I was called a chunk. I was a fat chink, and people would actually call me that. And so I was so ashamed of being Chinese that when people said, "Are you Hawaiian?" I would say yes, because Hawaiian was good and Chinese was bad where I grew up. So I was conflicted, and it wasn't until much, much later that I embraced my Chinese roots. Did you go through a similar, like, when did you figure out you were different and that was not a good thing or a...
No, my family, being who they were and fighting for our race, I never felt that. I was always proud of who I was. I was taught never to be ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed of being a Black woman. I'm a strong Black woman, and I fight for my people. But I, you know, to say, you know, it's what's the term? The Black, we just used it. I can't think of it right now, but it's for everyone. It's for everyone. You know, we're not just singling out Blacks, you know, Black power, this and that. There, we're saying, give us what we deserve. And we're for everybody. Like Martin Luther King said, we're for everybody having a piece of the pie. But we've been denied that for so long. And no, I'm not ashamed of who I am. And I don't think anyone should be ashamed of who they are. I embrace that. I embrace it, you know, and I use it because I feel like I have a mixture of everything in me. And if I have something to say, I'm going to say it about anybody because I'm mixed with everything. Yeah. You know, and I'm not denying who I am. I'm a Black woman, and I'm a proud, strong Black woman.
Well, because America sees you as a Black woman. I mean, I always tell her if anything goes down, she's going to answer the door, and me and Trace are going to hide because we're the darker ones. Her and London can get away with that. But you know what? My mother raised me to be comfortable and confident in who I am. And let me say, I've dated every nationality. I've gone through the whole rainbow coalition. But I've always been saying, hey, look, I have no preference. I like who I like. If I'm attracted to you, but respect me and who I am. It don't, like, I've dated a couple of people that go, you're different. I'm not different. Don't say that. That's not okay. That's a negative connotation to me, because you're basically saying, well, you're not like those people. I am those people. I'm mixed, but I look like a Black woman. So, you know, I raise my kids to have the same attitude. And, you know, my husband's half Swedish. So, you know, my kids are extremely, really mixed, right? And there's a little Jewish in there too. Well, we don't even say that. We're like, look, we like everybody, but if someone says something negative, I have really zero tolerance for racism. And I don't I don't apologize either. You know, I'm just like, that's not acceptable. I don't like that. I don't care if you don't like those people, you don't say that. And I've made it very clear, you know, just being comfortable. My kids are comfortable. And so, you know, like I said, just having mixed race, when my son first came home and heard the N-word, it was confusing to him because half the family's white, right? So he's like, I got called the N-word. I was like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. And I said, you know what? When people say that, Trace, you know what you say is that's the best you can come up with. You know, that's a trigger word. So I'm supposed to be upset. We say it in rap music every single day. So you're saying it doesn't piss me off. I said, because when you don't give it any validation and you don't say, oh, okay, then it just, that makes them even more angry because you can't find anything because that's malicious, right?
So Goldie, when you, it's obvious you did a very good job passing that you know, proud, strong Black woman, just like your mother and your aunt said, you know, no, you don't need to call him sir. You just say yes and thank you. Exactly. That the consequence though of that, and I'm going to put the moose on the table. Okay. There's two things. A couple people, you know, when they knew I was going to cover this topic, one question is, why is it okay to use the N-word in rap? And, you know, amongst the Black community, you know, they'll use it as a, hey, like, hey girl, hey, you know, and why is it okay there? And I told her why. I said, it's different when you say it and when they say it, it doesn't mean anything like that. Right.
It's difficult to explain. Yeah. Because I've had the same conversation with my family recently. And I said, I understand the confusion because we use it every day. We use it so freely. Even at home, we use it freely. And to us, it's just endearing to each other, to be honest with you. But we don't use it outside the house. And we don't, and some people feel that they are free to use the word maybe among two friends. One may allow you to use the word to him, but to use it to be vindictive, to use it to be malicious, to use it with anger, no, that's not the way you use the word. The white man created the word, and we just took it and turned that word into something we can deal with, you know? We don't want you to throw it at us. Don't throw that at us. No, don't do that. That's not right, you know? Because you're doing really it to be malicious. You're doing it to hurt us.
And I'm going to sock it right back to you if you say so. Exactly. You know, my mother-in-law, who has a Black son, you know, we say it as, you know, just freely. She has had a Black husband, you know, since my husband's father. I've not ever heard her ever use the word. And she has Black grandkids and she has a Black son. I've not ever heard her, and she likes, you know, ethnic music. And I've not ever heard her use the word. And I've said to her, you know, does it make you uncomfortable? She goes, just no, I don't use it. I don't think it's appropriate. Now, I don't think that if she said it, she would be malicious. I wouldn't be offended if she used the word, because we do say it around the house quite a bit. Sometimes we're playing around. My son has said it in a song, and my father's like, I don't want you saying that in your song because it's not necessary. Like, so many kids say it, you don't need to say that. Just don't use the word. It's not okay. And I told Trace, I was like, you know what? We're, you know, now I just think that it depends on how you use it.
Circumstances.
The circumstance. You know,
Yeah.
you got somebody like Eminem who doesn't use it in his rap music, but I'm sure someone's not going to get mad because that's the environment he's in. That's the culture that he decided to be in. But like my mom said, it's confusing because this happened in my job. This is why we have a conversation. There was a black there was a teacher who was teaching some Black history. This is a white teacher. And he was demonstrating just 2 weeks ago about the N-word. Well, one of the kids complained and said they were offended. And it was a white girl, right? It was a white kid. And I said, they were like, the Black kids were like, well, why would she get so offended? So anyway, they restructured the class. It was a big uproar at the school. And my mother was just telling my daughter, well, London, it's confusing because we're telling the white kids or their parents are saying, don't use that word, don't be racist. And then the teacher's saying it in school. And so they're uncomfortable when there's ethnic kids sitting there. It scares them. They're confused what to say, what not to say. So she's valid by saying it made her uncomfortable. And when my mother put it like that to London, I said, well, yeah, you're right. I didn't think about it like that. It makes somebody uncomfortable who's taught not to say it, but then we're going to teach it, right? It's conflicting.
Right.
So
Yeah, and this whole, when I came full circle on my own ethnicity and being, good with my own Chinese roots, I became very a cheerleader of valuing diversity. And that led for me to do that kind of work as an organizational psychologist. And during the class, it will always come up, why can't we describe that person? When you're referring to someone you don't know their name, why can't we say the Black woman or the Black man? And there's, that's a descriptor. That's the color of their skin. And my response is always, when Black just means Black, then yes, we can do that. But because Black has all of that, the heavy garbage
Negative
and
stuff,
negative stereotyping and the malicious intent and all of that. That's why you can't use it, because use what they're wearing to the gentleman in the, and until everyone, not just, white, because again, when we say white, there's rural, lower socioeconomic white people who have less, right? So you can't even say white privilege because it's not fully accurate for all white. It's and the thing about it's very uncomfortable for people to talk about this if they are from a very a Newtonian background. So everything has to be, is it right, wrong, good, bad? What color is it? What category does it? There's no gray area. And in order for us to actually get to valuing diversity, we have to be comfortable with the gray. You can't just say it's like this or like that, because nothing is that.
Each other. I want to interrupt you real quick. Sorry. Years ago, I was at the Jackson's house, Michael Jackson's mom. I'm sitting on the couch. We're watching TV, right? Someone commits a crime and we're watching the news. And Mrs. Jackson says, oh my God, I hope they're not Black. And it took me aback. I had to stop and I looked and I was like, wow, if Michael Jackson's mother is saying the same thing that I'm saying when I see something on the news, and it's an embarrassment to when someone has a crime and go, oh, they're Black people. She said, oh, I hope they're not Black. And I said, oh my God, being who he is, the biggest star in the world, they're still dealing with the same situation, right? Yes. And one of the things we always say when we're watching the news and someone does something, when they don't say they're Black, when they don't say, oh, it was an African-American guy, that's when we know that they weren't Black. As soon as someone does something, that's the first thing they say on the news. And in journalism, I was taught that they sway it that way and they don't like to hire, it's changing now, they don't like to hire Black news reporters because they get offended because they use certain key words. I was taught that in class. So that's what people need to understand. It's so much negative, you know, the trajectory of this narrative of keeping it negative. And the only thing that I have a problem with is when other cultures come to this country and they dislike us. And I'm like, you don't know anything about us, because the racism is with everybody, right? So we're just the ones they tell you to target, so you can feel more important than us. And that's the problem that I have. It's usually, for me, the racism that I've experienced have always been from ethnic people. And
You're
it's
absolutely,
sad, you know,
you're
because
absolutely,
like we have to stick together, because they feel that way. They'll pick us all apart at some point. They'll target, you know.
Did you know that up until 1972, if there was a crime reported, the news would say black, never white. So if it was a crime of a male, they would only say black. If it was a white male, they wouldn't say white male. They just say male. Isn't that interesting? They had to change it in 1972. So I learned that when I was teaching.
And people don't realize what we go through on a daily basis. This is things that I learned in school. Like, I did not know, and they have not changed the law besides the red line, or the redlining as far as where you could live and railroad tracks. Now they do it by the freeway. Black people, when you get your Social Security, there's a number that's an even number in all of our Social Security that identifies that we're Black, and we have a lower credit score starting out than any other culture. So if we don't pay our bill on time or anything happens, we already start with, like, I don't know how many points, maybe 50 points less than the average person. If we get behind or something happens, then we have bad credit. If we have bad credit, then we don't qualify. They've not changed that law. Yes. Yes, that law was in the 60s. And so when I took this class, I was just so blown away, because I just, you know, like I said, I grew up in a different lifestyle. So when people don't understand what we say, and I travel the world, you know I do. So as soon as I walk in the door, only place I've ever been, you don't feel like, as a Black person, someone's looking at you like, how are you here? Who are you, number one? And how can you afford to be here? Is Dubai. Dubai is the only place I've been that you don't feel that weird thing, like, you know what you are. Right?
Oh, yeah, I got that when I was in Hawaii. We have 2 minutes left. Elan.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Not
we
Elan.
always do this.
I know. Goldie, you get the last word.
Yes,
you
I'm
get the
gonna
last word. What does
Goldie.
Black History Month mean to you?
Oh, okay. What I was referring to before is, you know, the Black Lives Matter. No, everyone's life matters. We know that. But we had to use Black Lives Matter to get the attention that you can't just keep killing us just for the hell of kill, like we're, you know, to be haunted like animals. But everybody's lives matter, and we know that. So I just
drop the mic, Goldie. That was a good drop the mic.
That was a mic drop right there. Mic drop right there. Yeah, I couldn't believe when I heard the repatriation of the South and the Black slaves. They didn't get it. They didn't get any repatriation. The only people that got repatriation were the slave owners.
Right.
Their slaves. I was
it
like,
was our land that they stole. They stole our land. The KKK would just come in and burn and go, I want to get out.
So this is why we need Black History Month. We celebrate Black History Month. And from this point forward, we're
not
celebrating.
We're pro-life.
We're pro-life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Goldie. We'll definitely have to do this again. Very, very important. We'll have you on again, and maybe me and Elan will have muzzles on so that we allow you to talk a little more. Love you so much. And it's all about balance. You know the drill. It's peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. I just want to announce on Monday, come back on Monday for the show. I get presented this beautiful Lifetime Achievement Award. That is for Monday's show here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. Now go and have the best weekend ever.